A lot of singers start their career at a very young age, but you started your solo career pretty late in life when you were only in your 30s. Was it more challenging to start later in life?
Well, it just happened, before I started my solo career, I was in a girl group. And actually, it was because of the girl group that I got the chance to start as a solo artist, because we were touring through Europe. And after a show, our manager and I went back to the hotel, and there was this jazz trio playing. And I asked them, can I sing a song? And he didn't know I liked that. So when afterwards he said,
We're speaking to Laura Fygi this morning. She is a popular Dutch jazz singer, and she's celebrating her 30th anniversary as a solo artist next year. She just announced a new album, and she's working on a book too, a documentary, and a world tour. Wow. Thank you so much, Laura, for taking some time out of your very busy schedule to speak to us here on LITE. Now, like I said, you've been really busy. This pandemic has actually impacted the livelihood of people who are in the performing arts. Has it affected you in any way?
well, of course it has affected me because at this moment, all the concerts have been cancelled. My trips to Asia have been cancelled because I was planning actually this world tour this year, but we'll have to postpone it until next year. But of course, I will not sit down and do nothing. And in the meantime, I thought, okay, next year is my 30th anniversary. Let me work on that. So I've started writing my own book, which will be a coffee table book with a lot of pictures, a lot of stories, anecdotes. It's fun. It's fun. It keeps me busy, and every time things come up, and I think, oh yeah, I did that too, and let me write about it. So I keep myself busy, absolutely. And we're filming, of course, the documentary from a distance, and what we're working on.
You were in a disco band before you started your solo career. Have you always loved jazz? Like, how did you find your niche?
I was brought up with this kind of music. My parents used to love the crooners. My mother loved the French chansons and Michel Legrand. I lived in South America, so we had this whole Latin and the Brazilian music. So it was always in me, except, at a certain point, you're a teenager, you love disco, you get the chance to record singles with two other girls, so Centerfold was created. But the jazz was always in me. So if we were had night off or after a show, I would go to a jazz bar and just do a few songs there. So, well, because my parents used to listen to all that kind of music, I started to love it as well. Once I started to understand the lyrics, which are very important for me, the stories about the songs, it grew into me, and I must say that the old songs touch me more than the new ones nowadays.
A lot of singers start their career at a very young age, but you started your solo career pretty late in life when you were only in your 30s. Was it more challenging to start later in life?
Well, it just happened, before I started my solo career, I was in a girl group. And actually, it was because of the girl group that I got the chance to start as a solo artist, because we were touring through Europe. And after a show, our manager and I went back to the hotel, and there was this jazz trio playing. And I asked them, can I sing a song? And he didn't know I liked that. So when afterwards he said, well, if we have the chance and the time is right, we will have to record an album with jazzy songs. And so when he was at Universal Music, I called him. I said, I think it's time to do that. So 30 years ago, he made it possible.
Also, you're one of the very few Dutch singers who have made it in China. What prompted that move to China?
Yeah, well, we started 30 years ago by releasing the first album, and Japan was the first Asian country that hooked up and released the album. And then I went for concerts, and then Korea said, "Oh, I want that too." And then it's like an oil stain, it just went down, and like Malaysia, Singapore, everything. And then China, it must have been 15, 17 years ago, hooked up and said, "We want that too."
All right.
And I started to do concerts there. So that's how I got into it.
Was it difficult for you to pick up the language?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult language, and I had some help. I did record a whole Chinese album, but like they love ballads, which is okay because that makes it easier for me to sing. On this last album, I did a duet with LITE, and that was very fast. So I had quite some difficult time to record that.
Now, 30 years into this industry, 17 albums, countless live performances later, which would you say is your proudest achievement?
It's really hard because actually every song I choose is something about my life. It's a memory. It's an experience. So it's very hard to choose one album. But I think there are actually two. One is with Michel Legrand, which I'm very proud of, to be able to have been working with him. He did the whole new orchestration. He did a duet with me, and he wrote especially a song for me, right? So that is really very precious for me. Mm-hmm. Second would be the Latin touch, because these are the memories of Uruguay, where I lived there with my mom and dad, and that was a memory of my father because he died there. So that's an era that ended. So the Latin touch would be very precious for me and very prestigious for me as well.
Now, Laura, I found out that you are a mother of three. How do you strike the balance between family time, career?
Well, I can tell you they're big now, but I always, they're all mature and big and going their own way. So I don't have to be bothered with that anymore. But when they were small, of course, that was hard. Just being away from them was really hard. So that's why I always said, I don't want to be away from Holland longer than 2 weeks. So I have to be back. But then there was my husband, of course, who took care of them, and well, we did a good job. They were never alone or taken care of by others, or we always took care of our children.
Are your children musical as well? Will you support them if they want to pursue a singing career?
Well, my 2 sons are musical, but they're not pursuing a musical career. But they're both musical. We had one son, my eldest son is plays guitar, heavy stuff, like Marilyn Manson. Wow. And Metallica thing, and well, he moved out of the house now, so the noise is gone too. But and then I have another son, and he plays the drums very well, and I've played with them few times, and it was really fun. But they studied something completely different. So, but music is always good for them. It's nice to relieve yourself from the work and everything to make music. It makes you feel great.
How have your family supported you throughout your journey?
Oh, but my husband supports not only when the children were small, but still he does. He drives me around everywhere. He has great contacts. So, if I need a contact, he would make that contact so that we can, expend something, a concert or anything. You know, he's a great business guy. My two sons, of course, are into something that I know nothing about, which is social media. The youth is great with that. You see, we're now talking to each other, but I didn't put this thing here. You know, it was my son who prepared everything because I have no idea how it works. They take care of my Facebook, my Instagram, my website, everything.
What was it that they wanted you to do if you weren't in music?
It's always been music. There's nothing in me that thought, oh, I want to be a stewardess or something else. No, not at all. It's always been showbiz, music. There's no discussion, and I don't think there won't be a discussion. If I choose to do something totally different, okay, that's my choice. I don't think there will be any discussion. I mean, honey, there's no discussion with me.
Now tell us about your new album, Laura Goes East.
Well, I signed up with a Chinese record company, JD Music, because they wanted this company only had local artists on their label, and they wanted an international one. Now, the boss of JD Music, I know, of course, for so many years, because he's been booking my concerts, he's got jazz clubs and everything. So he suggested to make an album with the Great American Songbook songs, of course, the songs that China loves. So he gave me some suggestions. I chose 10 of them. He asked me to do a duet with LITE. I did. I had a few conditions. I wanted to be arranged by my band here because he wanted to record it in China, right, with Chinese musicians. So it was arranged by my own musicians here in Holland. I went to Shanghai and recorded there at the studio with great musicians like Jeremy Montero he's from Singapore. Actually, he's Malaysian, right?
Yeah.
And he lives in Singapore. He did the production there, and we had a great fun. It was really nice working with all these guys. Most of them I knew because I'd been working with them. Technicians were great, studios were great. It was a real good atmosphere. And I loved it. So we came back, it was mixed and mastered here in Holland.
Now, I'm really excited about this. What is this documentary about?
Actually, it's about the 30 years, but of course I will also be talking about my childhood and my parents, but most of it will be about the 30 years that I've been working as a solo artist.
All right.
We'll be talking to some people. Unfortunately, most of the people I've been working with have died, which we have to hurry. We really have to hurry because Michel Legrand is not among us anymore. Toots Tielemans is not among. Clark Terry, Johnny Griffin, all these great guys I've been working with are not with us anymore. So we will be talking with people that have been involved in my career, like we will have to do some traveling to do the interviews. And in 2009, I played the lead in the musical Victor Victoria in Singapore, and we will be talking to the director. And actually, it's more like, what is their experience with me?
Finally, Laura, any advice to people in the live performance industry who might be struggling at this moment?
Well, if it's an open space, you can do, of course, you can perform as long as people are separated from each other. Are all the concerts and clubs closed in Malaysia?
Well, pretty much, yeah. for the time being. So we're under what's happening here is called the Movement Control Order. We're under National Security Council. We're under national security law at the moment. So they've released. We are under recovery movement control order. So certain industries have been allowed to be open, and one of the industries, the main industries that hasn't been allowed to open are pubs at the moment. So live performances, entertainers have had a bit of a struggle for the past almost 5 months, almost 6 months now. Yeah,
I know all about it. I mean, doing things online and doing performances online, podcasts. Just, I think you should keep yourself busy and shown to people. They won't forget you as that soon, but still, it's good that every time you show people, I'm still here, I'm working on something. I think, just keep on going. Whatever is allowed, just do it.
Thank you so much, Laura Fygi. It was an honor to be able to have a little chat with you, and all the best moving forward. Looking forward to all the new album, the new documentary, and the new book.